Regardless of training experience, resting longer than 60 seconds between sets is advantageous.
On arms and calves, I will literally give trainees and myself no rest whatsoever.
A short rest periods are suboptimal for muscle hypertrophy.
3 to 5 minutes.
But your resting time shouldn't be a fixed number. Before we jump in, let me introduce myself. I'm Panos and I've been training for around a decade now, and my goal here in this channel is to communicate as much knowledge as I can towards you and hopefully make you a better lifter. In this video, we will break down why you shouldn't even track your resting times, how to actually tell if you're ready for your next set, and finally, I will give you some tips that will help you with your experimentation around the topic. In order to find how much you should rest between your sets, you really need to ask yourself, what is the goal of my training? In hypertrophy training, the objective is to provide your muscles with enough stimulus so they can grow, and this can happen mainly through high intensity and secondarily through adequate volume. So instead of asking yourself, how long should I rest for? Ask, how can I increase my intensity and potentially my volume through my rest? The intensity of a workout in the context of hypertrophy training boils down to how close to true muscular failure you are working. The closer to failure you are able to take your sets to, the better the gains you will see. In order to ensure that your intensity is high enough, you want to make sure that you are resting long enough to get you ready for a next productive set. And by a productive set, I mean a set where you can approach muscular failure in the targeted muscle. There are some cases where, unfortunately, a set is not productive, or at least not as productive as you would like it to be, even though you are not able to perform another rep, because something else is failing and not your targeted muscle. That could be your cardio, so you are basically stopping the set because you're out of breath, even though your muscles are still capable. Other muscles that are participating in the movement. For example, for me personally, on cable pull downs, if I rest less than 3 minutes, my left forearm is giving up way before my back because it's weaker. And this means that if I rest less than that, my back will not work as close to failure as it should. And finally, your psychology, where you are stopping the set because you cannot handle it mentally anymore, even though your muscles can perform 2 or 3 or in some cases even more reps. Let's say that you are doing squats for 8 to 10 reps. If you rest for 30 to 60 seconds, then you are probably out of breath, your lower back is burning, and the only thing you want mentally is leave the gym and go home. If you go for 2 minutes and your cardio might be kind of okay, your lower back starts recovering and it should be ready to go. But if your previous set was hard enough, then your psychology is probably not there yet. And this means that you probably need 3 or 4 or in some cases even 5 minutes to get you 100% ready for another quality and productive set. While on the other hand, for side raises, even after 30 seconds, you are not out of breath, no other muscle is fatigued to the point that it will make the next set unproductive, and you are 100% ready psychologically for another high quality and productive set, even with a break that short. Now that we got a rough idea of what we should pay attention to when we are deciding whether we are ready for the next set or not, let's make it a bit more structured. Make sure that you are not out of breath and that your heart rate has come down quite a bit. How much will really depend on what set you are preparing for. If you're going for squats, for example, in the 10 to 20 rep range, then you have to let your BPMs fall by a lot. But if your next set is gonna be just a rowing machine in the 6 to 8, then you can get away with a higher heart rate. Also, you have to feel psychologically ready and not completely drained by the previous set. If 3 or 4 minutes have passed, but you are still feeling drained by the previous set, just don't go for the next one, because chances are you're not going to perform at the level that we want to. And finally, that the rest of the muscles that are participating in the movement are also ready to go, and they are not going to fail first before the targeted muscle. Wait a minute, then you can just rest for 5 minutes on all your sets and you should be good to go. Well, that's not exactly the case. In some occasions where you're unsure whether you're ready or not, it might be beneficial to wait another minute, but that's definitely not something that you want to do by default, because it can get counterproductive and affect your results. On high rep work for smaller muscle groups, where cardio fatigue isn't an issue, it's quite common to quit the set because your psychology is not there after 20 reps. Taking smaller breaks on these occasions might actually be more productive. After 30 or 40 seconds, your target muscle will still be quite fatigued, and you have the opportunity to reach muscular failure sooner on the next set, with way fewer reps, while preventing your psychology of cutting you short. Also, this way you can fit way more volume in your productive training window. As I mentioned earlier, muscle stimulation comes from high intensity and adequate volume. And in order to fit adequate volume in your workouts without making them too long and unproductive, you need to find ways to squeeze in more productive sets. And not resting more than you need to is probably the best way to achieve that. I have personally noticed that after 2 hours, I am kind of done with the session. So whatever I train after that mark is not training at the quality level I would like to. And due to that, I prefer not to exceed the 2-hour mark. In order to achieve that, for some isolation exercises, I take way smaller breaks, like 20 to 30 seconds, while always making sure that for each set, the failing parameter is my targeted muscle. You don't need a timer. Tracking your rest times is only useful to confirm that for different sessions on the same exercise on different days, you need different rest times, because not every day is the same. Some days you will be more fatigued, or you might have slept worse, or you maybe skipped a meal because you were in a hurry and you need a little bit more time to get ready for the next set. And to be honest, I think that setting a timer only gets your attention away from the things that actually matter, which is proper technique, proper execution, and approaching failure. But there are 2 exceptions to that. Intensity techniques like drop sets or rest pause sets, where you are tracking seconds of rest within the same set, and you want to make sure that this rest period is standardized. And secondly, it's the case where you are getting carried away easily, chatting with other people, or looking around or scrolling at your phone, because this can really disrupt the flow of your session and result in wasting time in things that won't get you jacked, and therefore that don't matter. Experiment with different rest times, especially for those exercises that cardio fatigue is not an issue. And don't be afraid to go out of the ordinary if that works for you. Just keep in mind that the 1 to 3 minute range is a really good place to start your experimentation at. Also, for any given exercise, the optimal rest duration will differ based on a ton of factors. So it's not really smart to attach rest times to exercises. You can have a range in mind and use this as a guide instead. So even if you figured out that for 3 or 4 sessions, 4 minutes work great for your squats, don't expect this to be the case forever. It's better to have 3 to 5 minutes as a range in mind and treat each specific case differently, based on all the things that we discussed today. These were my 2 cents on the topic. I really hope you liked the video, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe. Cheers!